You would be amazed how difficult it is to find Jamaican food, Caribbean food in general in my area. There's a place called Caribbean First Choice that I used to go to all the time when I was in graduate school. I haven't been there in quite a while, so I really wanted to check it out. It's been about 12 years since I've been there. I used to actually go almost every week when I would pick up my comics across the street at Aquilonia Comics, my favorite comic book shop in the world. So I was really in the mood for some Jamaican food here in 2021. Let's get over there. We'll dig into how some of this food tastes. So I mentioned I haven't been there since graduate school, and lo and behold, when I went there, the place is all updated. They got a nice fresh paint job. It looks quite a bit different inside, but still same simple menu, and I actually think even the same prices. In the past, I've only ever gotten dishes that were chicken dishes, and I've only either gotten curry chicken or jerk chicken. Jerk is my go-to there. But they basically have every variety of chicken that you can get: curry, jerk, grill, fry, barbecue, and then other proteins like jerk shrimp, oxtail, curry goat, and then other like vegetarian things like ital stew. They do charge a little more if you're gonna get things like beef or shrimp or anything like that, so stick to the chicken if you want a lower bill. But if you want beef or seafood or anything like that, I'm sure it's very good. I've never tried it, but it's probably awesome. All the meals are served with rice with pigeon peas, a nice little like cabbage, braised cabbage, and some plantains. They go with the sweet plantains that are just, you know, fried until nice and soft. And on top of that, they have the usual appetizers that you would find at a Caribbean Jamaican place, stuff like Jamaican beef patties, chicken patties. You can get that on the cocoa bread, which you know I had to do. This place has like a soda case full of all their different sodas, and they have, you know, the Caribbean style sodas and colas. They actually had Irish moss, which I had to check out this time. But we're gonna get back to that in a minute. For the purpose of the video, I got a Jamaican beef patty with the cocoa bread, the large jerk chicken plate, and an Irish moss. 3 things. Let's first talk about this beef patty on cocoa bread and get the elephant out of the way. And when I say elephant in the room, this thing was massive, and I mean like the size of my head massive. It's a meal unto itself, and it's really not for the faint of heart. The cocoa bread is like a really substantial, almost like a King's Hawaiian or even like a brioche, where like if you squish it down, it kind of stays in place. And then inside of this sandwich, you have a Jamaican beef patty, which is, you know, that nice little like layered pastry filled with spicy beef. And if you're unfamiliar with a beef patty, these are the things that you get at any pizzeria. It's got like this really, really spicy jerk beef inside, and it's got like almost like a Pop-Tart. Is it like a Pop-Tart turnover kind of thing? Like more like an empanada, not like a Pop-Tart. Pop-Tart's brittle, empanada's like flaky. In this one, the beef was really aggressively spicy, and like I said, not for the faint of heart. Totally amazing. For both things, like $4.50 with the beef patty on the cocoa bread, it's probably the best deal for blocks in Troy. The large jerk chicken plate was also pretty much an amazing deal as well. $13, you get a nice handful of chicken parts that are cooked in their jerk seasoning. Really, really a large amount of the rice. You get those plantains, you get that cabbage. And the plate is massive. I think I got a leg, part of a thigh, part of a breast, and then I think a wing also. So like a good handful of chicken pieces. Let's start with the sides. The rice that it's on is kind of unassuming. Not a whole lot to taste there, but this is one of those things where it more is there to soak up a lot of the flavoring from the jerk chicken, which they do as more of a braised style as opposed to like a grilled jerk chicken. There's a lot more rice than pigeon peas in this, and I think, honestly, I feel like I saw somewhere that there might be a shortage on pigeon peas, and I think that might be playing into this. There's not as many as I remember there being in their rice, but honestly, it really doesn't need it, because you also have the cabbage on the side. The cabbage is like the vegetable that you could argue doesn't have to be there, but it's definitely nice to break things up a little bit. When you're eating just the jerk chicken and the rice, it gets kind of redundant, so the cabbage is there to kind of break things up a little. Then you got those sweet plantains, which are the nice ripe sweet plantains that when you fry them, they kind of start to fall apart a little bit. Totally amazing. Almost tastes like a banana. I know they look like bananas. They're not exactly related to bananas as far as I can tell. I don't know. You want to look up the etymology of plantains, go ahead and do that. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit it with a like and subscribe if you like food. I think you guys are here to hear about the jerk chicken. I'm going to start right off the rip and tell you that the jerk chicken at First Choice is what I would consider an entry-level jerk chicken. All of the seasonings that you would want there are there. You know, there's the thyme, all the herbs and all that stuff, it's there. What it's lacking is the spice. So this is prepared with not a whole overwhelming amount of Scotch bonnet, which I think is good if you're not familiar with jerk chicken. Me, I gotta have it a little bit spicier, so I went with one of my favorite local Caribbean style sauces from Rick Orlando. The Trinidaddy had to do it. And like I said, all the other herbs are there. So you have your cinnamon, your allspice, your thyme, and it's all cooked into the chicken. And it's just amazing. And you got to get down and dirty and start ripping the meat off the bones. And that's another thing. You got to kind of watch out while you're eating this, because there are bones and a lot of them are kind of small. So you got to eat around those bones, make sure you're not actually chewing into it. But all together, it's just an amazing dish, and $13 is like a steal. So let's talk about this Irish moss business. As much as I had to eat, and as much as I knew that it was gonna be a lot, and Irish moss would be heavy on top of it, I had to have it. The one they sell is called Big Bamboo Jamaican Irish Moss Peanut Drink. I don't think this brand is terribly authentic, even though it kind of looks like it's hard to find. But for what it is absolutely incredible. Irish moss is usually a drink that's created by blending some sugar with spices, with a type of seaweed that's really heavy on carrageenan, I don't know. I'm a chemist and I should know how to pronounce this stuff. But that's there to make it thick. There's also something called peanut punch, and I think this particular Irish moss kind of blends those two concepts together. But it's totally amazing. It was totally unnecessary to throw this on top of the beef patty with the cocoa bread and the large jerk chicken platter. I could not finish everything in one sitting, and I have to admit that right off the top. This was a lot of food, but they serve it in nice little containers that you can pop the top back on, and you can have it another time. One thing I noticed while I was there is on the wall, they have a sign saying that they now make rasta pasta. And if you want to learn how to make rasta pasta, I actually made a video on that, and you can check that out right here.